Hi, I'm Mannsi Agrawal, and today I'm really glad to be here at Ask the Yellers by Storyyellers. So let's start the questions. How do you manage money by traveling? Maybe for traveling. So I really love traveling. I think there are three strategies I use maybe to manage money. Number one, I save. I really make it a point that I save for what is a priority for me. Traveling for me is my biggest priority. I don't buy so many expensive clothes. I don't buy so much expensive jewelry, nothing at all. I really save all my money for traveling. Number two, I have a separate bank account which I have no card for, no checkbook for. This is where I keep all my money so that every time I have a chance to travel, I have some amount of savings already. And possibly the third one, I work really hard so that I make money so that I can actually travel. So yeah, for people who want to travel, please start working hard and be really conscious about your goals, because you know what? Every time you go out, you spend some amount of money. Imagine how much of fun you could have had with that money when you're somewhere else or when you're traveling. So that's how I think, and I really make it a point to save money so I can travel as much as I want. Next question. Who is your greatest motivation and how did he or she become so? Okay, so this is a long story and I think maybe I should tell you. I grew up in Calcutta, and when I was 3 years old, my sister was born. And we had a person, like a helper, who came to take care of my sister and me when we were really young. Now she's been in our house for 31 years. A few years ago, she told us, "Come with me to my house. I'm going to take you to my village for a puja." We went to her village and we realized she took us to a particular spot by the lake, and we stood in that spot. And when we stood there, she actually told us this in Bengali, "Ekhan theke jotota jaiga dekhte parcho amar," which meant, from here, all the land that you can see belongs to me. You see, every month when she would get her salary from our house, she would save it, go back to her village and buy a small part of land. She would then do farming on that land. Her brothers would help in all of that. And slowly she had made up quite an empire for herself in her village. And every time I'm at a loss for inspiration, every time I'm looking at some kind of motivation, I think about her. Because she has been working in our house for 31 years, yet she's actually quite a Sauni back in her village. However, she still loves Calcutta so much, she never wants to leave. But she inspires me because she has no formal education. She ran away from her house when she was 8 or 9 years old, came to the city and made a life for herself. So whenever I'm low, I think about this ordinary woman who experienced and did something extraordinary in her life. And for me, she's possibly the one person who's motivated me like no other at all. So yeah, that's the one who motivates me the most. Next question. How hard is it to make people listen to you? If the people is my husband and my son, very hard. If the people is other people, well, not so hard at all. I think that my husband and son don't take me seriously anymore, which is why it's extremely difficult for me to get them to listen to me. My son, most of the times thinks I'm really silly because I don't know anything about the cartoons he watches. But yeah, for other people, I think it's not so difficult. My job is that I'm a trainer, I'm a speaker. And for me, it's not so difficult to get the world to listen. But yeah, when it's my husband or my son, I struggle extremely badly. How was your nature in your childhood? Depends on who you ask. If you ask my sister, she'll say I was a devil. If you ask my mother, she'll say I was quite a devil. But if you ask me, I'm going to tell you I was pretty nice. Now, jokes apart, I was quite a tomboy growing up. Until the age of 10 or 12, I used to like cycling. I used to be a great swimmer. I used to be good in studies. I was very hardworking. But after a point of time, I think, as it happens to a lot of people, I lost a lot of my self-confidence. So I became quite a reticent, shy person in my growing up or in my teenage years. But my childhood was a lot of fun. I thought I was hardworking. I thought I was also very passionate about certain things. And overall, I think, yeah, I was a nice kid, but maybe my sister will not agree to this at all. Okay, next. How and where did you start your journey as a public speaker? I used to get involved in some speaking arrangements in school and some in college, but something that was rather trivial, nothing much. When I came to Kathmandu, my uncle, Mr. Ashwini Agrawal, he took me for my first Toastmaster meeting. And for me, Toastmasters at that point wasn't just a club. It was my only outlet to understanding what Nepal was. It was my only window to this country. Those were my only friends that were not our family members. And at Toastmasters, I found that I had a voice. And I understood that my voice had power. And that's where the journey really started. But that was mostly when I was learning. After a point when I used to see some of the best speakers in the world and I used to start following them on YouTube, I realized that these people were getting paid to speak. And I thought, wow, how lucky. Just imagine getting paid to speak. Slowly, of course, it also happened to me. I started getting speaking offers. I started getting a lot of people approaching me to speak at events, to train at colleges, to do all sorts of speaking. And I started really enjoying it. But yeah, all in all, I think the journey started in 2008 when I joined Toastmasters. It has been a life-changing journey for me. What one advice do you like to give 16-year-old of myself? Don't be so bothered about what people think of you. I think my entire teenage went in just being so caught up and so bothered by what people think. Log kya sochenge mere bare mein? Manchela ki sochcha ki lagcha? I think my entire teenage went by like that. But I think that wasn't the right strategy. I wish I just had a bit more fun. I wish I'd been more of a teenager rather than trying to please everybody all the time. So yeah, maybe the one strategy I would like to give 16-year-old me is don't take yourself and the world so seriously. Just have a bit of fun sometimes as well. How many hours are there in your day, Superwoman? Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. My team would know. I message them at 2:30 in the night and then I message them at 6 in the morning because I'm awake all the time. Once I joked with somebody, sometimes I work from Australia time to UK time. I wake up really early these days, I'm trying to. And I don't get sleep until very late, which is a bad thing. I know I should be resting a lot more. But I know that being quite a hardworking person, maybe almost borderline workaholic, I can easily work up to 18 or 20 hours a day, no problem at all. Did 22-year-old Mannsi dream of who she has become today? No. At 22, I was in the worst phase of my life. I had just been married. I was very uncomfortable with many different things. And at 22, I don't think I had any hopes or any dreams or anything at all. I completely was a mess. My 20s were extremely difficult and I didn't dream of who I am today. But a few weeks ago, actually, because of the lockdown, one of my friends in Calcutta was cleaning up her cupboard. And she found a letter I had written to her when I was in grade 7. And in the letter, I had also written, I want to be a teacher and a photographer. And I completely forgot about this. I had no memory of it at all. When she sent it to me, I saw it in my own handwriting and I was shocked that sort of life comes back to you in a complete circle, and what you want, what is your deep down inside, the dream and the core that you have, sometimes comes out in absolutely unbelievable ways. Today, I am a teacher, I am a trainer, and I'm also a photographer. So yes, I did think about who I would be maybe when I was in grade 7, but definitely not when I was 22 at all. Who would be Mannsi Agrawal if she hadn't become a motivational speaker? I think I would be a photographer. I am a photographer. I think I would have just continued with that if I wasn't a speaker. Yeah, I think so. How do you balance your career as a trainer versus a photographer? How do you prioritize? That's actually a great question, and I have been thinking myself about the answer to this question for a very long time now. I think for me, when I really introspect, I realize photography is difficult. It's not natural. It's something for which I have to put in a lot of effort. However, on the other hand, public speaking, motivational speaking, whatever it is more natural. It flows more easily for me. So if I were to make a choice or if I were to make a decision, I think I would like to be a speaker for the rest of my life versus a photographer, because photography for me is a result of hard work and a lot of sleepless nights. But training and speaking comes more naturally and comes more from within. So how do I prioritize? I do both as of now. But I think I would like to, going forward, maybe focus more on the speaking or the creative aspect of writing and speaking rather than photography. I think that should be a fair answer. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, that's a story. As you've been a motivational speaker and motivating people to uplift them in their life, what's the best thing people can do for self-love and create value for their life? Um, very often I think we get so caught up in what other people think about us and what other people tell us about who we are that their words subconsciously become the narrative for ourselves in our own heads. So if somebody tells me, Mannsi, timi ekdami esto chhau, testo chhau, whatever it is, I'll start believing those things about me. But the truth is, we as people, we're not good, we're not bad. We are the stories we tell ourselves. We are the words we plant in our own heads. I think one of the most deepest and profound things that we can do for self-love is choose what stories we want to believe about ourselves from other people. So the moment I stopped listening to other people who told me I wasn't good enough, the moment when I stopped believing other people who thought I would never succeed, the moment I stopped believing people who thought I was not good, I was not nice, I would never learn how to cook, I would not be able to take care of my child, the moment I stopped believing their narratives, I started replacing their words, their thoughts with other thoughts that I had about myself in my own head. And I think the most important thing that you can do for self-love is plant positive thoughts about yourself in your head and choose who you want to listen to. It's very easy. Just because somebody is older than you, more experienced than you, close to you, you think, oh, they know right and they'll be able to tell me what I'm good at and what I can do, cannot do. Ask yourself, what are the stories that you would like to believe about yourself? And if you are able to make the right pick, you'll be able to love yourself a lot more. What did it take for Mannsi to become Mannsi Agrawal? From starting to ending up confident woman, what inspired you? I went through a lot of pain. Possibly it was that. I just mentioned my 20s were extremely difficult for me. So from the age of 21 till 30, 29, 30 was an extremely difficult time in my life. And I think it was all these negative experiences that gave me a sensitivity and an understanding of life, which I don't think would have happened otherwise. So for me, possibly what really made me who I am today is all of that pain. And a lot of people are like, oh, I wish that pain was not there. I wish I didn't have to go through that. I don't really have any such feeling at all. I'm extremely proud of that pain. I'm extremely proud of what it made me. And I appreciate and I'm grateful for that pain, because had it not been for that, had it not been for all those negative experiences, I don't think I would have ever been whatever I am today. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. I'm happy. So I think, yeah, it was a very difficult time in my life, and maybe that's what made me who I am. I went through a lot of health problems. I went through depression twice. I had jaundice, typhoid. We had financial issues, personal family problems, all sorts of stuff in those 8 years. And I was really young. While my friends were in college and deciding what to wear for their Friday night party, I was grappling with a lot more serious issues. So I guess that 10-year period kind of taught me a lot of things, and it sort of accelerated my growth as a person. And I'm really proud of it. I don't think I would like to change it for anything. So maybe those years really make me who I am today. How do you manage to be so cheerful in this chaotic time? Plus, who's your inspiration? How do I manage to be so cheerful? I'm really full of extremes. Either you're going to see me cheerful and bubbly and jumping around, or you're going to see me like a potato lying down on the bed all day long. I can be either this or that. I'm never normal, basic, standard at all. How do I manage to be so cheerful in this time? Adrenaline. I think that's what's keeping me going. I work so much. I don't realize the chaos around me. I'm working more from home. I'm working basically from home these days. But I don't really have time to think much about what's happening around. I'm aware of things. Initially, I was following numbers and statistics every day. I'm not doing any of that now. But I am extremely busy, and so busy that I don't really have time to think about what's wrong. There are problems and everyone's going through stress, but that's about it. I'm making the most of it in every way that I can, yeah. But honestly, I'm just either cheerful or completely sad. There's no in between for me. What are the challenges you faced being an Indian trying to integrate in Nepali society? Well, that's a great question, and a lot of people have of late been asking me this. Okay, so I'm a communicator. I love to speak to people. I love to make friends. I love to talk. I love to do all of that. My biggest problem when I came was that I did not understand a word of Nepali. And at that point, I made the stupid decision of asking my husband's younger brother to teach me Nepali. Now, this guy, as I now know, turned out to be quite a prankster. And the first thing that he taught me was there's a very, very bad word in Nepali that you should never tell anybody, and the word is Ramro. Ramro to never, like never say the word Ramro to anybody. And whenever you like something, you say Lato. So my first two words and my first exposure of the Nepali language was completely off. So I remember one day I saw the mountains and I was really excited. I used to get very excited about the mountains earlier. And I told हाम्रो driver दाइ पनि गाडीमा हुनुहुन्थ्यो, and I said, दाइ कति लाटो mountains, and he's like, what? I'm like, katti lato. He's like what? And then my husband, I think he told my husband about it or something, and he told me, never say that. That's not right at all. So I think my biggest challenge initially was, this whole language thing. It took me a lot of effort to learn Nepali, and now of course I can speak, but it took me a lot of effort. I used to read the newspaper loudly to myself in the toilet, underline words, ask people what do words mean. So that was one challenge. The other challenge, of course, was, people talk a lot about India, Nepal, how they're different countries and how there's political tensions. For me, in 14 and a half years, I can think of exactly 2 incidents I've had, and that's really nothing at all. I had this one student, and this was an incident I'd like to mention here. I had this one student, I was training, I was doing like a workshop for some MBA students, and I had this one guy who sent me extremely verbally abusive messages on my Viber around 8-9 years ago. And I remember feeling that I had done nothing to actually aggravate him so much. And the last message was, ma'am, tapai Indian hununsa. And I'm like, what? Are you really saying all these things about me because I'm an Indian? And then he said, yes, you all have done this. And I said, I don't know, I'm your teacher. Of course, I complained about it to the college. A lot of strict action was taken about him. I blocked him on Viber. But the crazy thing is that around a month ago, when my video went viral, 7 reasons to never ever visit Nepal, in 2 days, he sends me a message. Ma'am, I'm extremely sorry about what I said, and you love Nepal as much as I do. And, that's when I realized that karma is real. He felt so much of regret and remorse. He could not actually stop himself from messaging me. He was still possibly blocked on my Viber, which is why he messaged me on Facebook Messenger. But that was the only incident that I can think of which was difficult for me. But apart from that, honestly, Nepal has been extremely kind to me, like unbelievably kind. I have so many Nepali friends. I call them up, I ask them, okay, teach me how to make this, teach me how to cook that. They're always helping me. I've never had problems apart from the language initially. And then that one incident with that boy who really made me question my entire existence in this country. Like, at that point, I was very shaken up. I remember telling my husband, there's no point in me living here if people hate me so much. I remember having this conversation with him. He said, no, it's not everybody. It's just one person who's probably off about something. But I don't think I've had any real problems apart from that. Language, yes, initially, absolutely. Okay, final question. Which quality of yours is it you think which has helped you be so cute? I don't know who asked this question, but thank you so much for just thinking I'm cute. Probably the only other person who thinks I'm cute is my son. He thinks I'm cute and pretty, by the way. What made me so cute? Ask my parents. Yeah, it's probably genetic. If I'm cute, it's probably just that. I don't know how to answer this. But thank you for this question. It makes me feel really nice. I'm just so glad. Okay, with that, I come to the end of all my questions. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in all these very insightful questions. I enjoyed answering them. It's been a great fun afternoon for me. But, the real depth of these questions is that I hope they make you think. And I hope some of my answers make sense to you, because sometimes we don't realize it, but words, our words, somebody else's words, a stranger's words, could actually be our survival guides, could actually be something that carries us through dark days of our lives. So I hope that you take some of my words to heart and they make some sort of sense to you on some level. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun here today at Storyyellers. Thank you so much.